let's dive in and kick this off. In the top left-hand corner, the blue Protoss player from Storm is MaxPax. And in the bottom right, it is going to be our red Terran player. Team Liquiding it up. It is Clem. It's a big scrap over first place in this group right here. I'm pretty sure any win is good enough for Clem to take first. A 2-0 win is good enough for MaxPax to take first. I think if MaxPax loses, he would be third place. If Clem loses, he would be third place as well. So, pretty big difference. First to third in the group, straight to semifinals to the worst seed in the round of 6. Definitely an interesting one. What do we expect? Does Clem play any Cyclone stuff in the TvP this time? Obviously, he used it a bit against Hearthstone earlier. Does he do it at all against MaxPax, though? I'm a little bit more skeptical about that. I would generally trend towards no. I think he's going to play a bit more, almost just straight up and standard against MaxPax. But let's see what happens as GLHF gets called. Clem will open us up with a bit of luck, a bit of fun. And a couple of SCVs are going to come about. And that probe is already getting chased around. Back of the natural. Just a little bit of trying to harass, but the SCV being on the low ground to help just means that this CC doesn't have to delay for the moment. That's a pretty good response to this, as Clem is also getting his scouting across the map to guarantee he knows what he's playing against, not going to run into anything too tricky for himself or anything that's going to cause problems, so on and so forth. Probe still chilling out on the right side for a moment as well. Actually going to get a proxy pylon up here, so maybe MaxPax is going to try and apply a little bit of early game pressure. Maybe he's heard of these Cyclones and he doesn't believe they should be allowed to get up and establish it all. Maybe he's going to try and cut it off at the head, stop it before Clem can even do anything. Maybe he just likes the idea of proxy negate and putting some pressure on anyways. Any which way, it is going to be that gateway dropping down on this right-hand side, so we will get that started up here straight away. And we're going to get one gate back at home as well. So 3 gates from MaxPax looking to apply pressure. Clem's first factory about to finish up, and he is just going to build a Hellion to start out with. So, a Hellion at first. And a starport. Oh, Clem, that's not a Cyclone setup, is it? Okay, so no Cyclone just yet. He could still Cyclone after the Hellion and just, like, build one, which could still be pretty interesting to see how that works defensively. Against the proxy gate of MaxPax, you would imagine still probably has a little bit of potential. Adept just comes through, nabs an SCV, a couple of Marines in the Hellion. Gonna go through for this Adept, and is gonna be able to knock that one Adept down already, so just gonna nab that. The starport still coming up, the Rotor Mine on the way. As the Reaper does hop up to the high ground, and it's gonna be seeing the Hellion trying to get across as well. Looks like the Reaper will go straight in toward the main base to be able to get some scouting, which is gonna be pretty much just telling him, hey, look, there's a bunch of units over here. The bunker's obviously very good for Clem. It's going to help him out absolute metric ton in this scenario. The Reaper just makes the most of itself, gets one probe before going down, and now these Marines continue to chase against the Adepts, against the Stalker. Going all the way through over here, those Marines going to get the Stalker, going to get the SCVs to surround a little bit as well. There goes the Adepts dropping down too. It's a pretty clean initial defense from Clem. He kills off pretty much everything, considering how aggressive this is from MaxPax. Because the Twilight Council is very delayed to usual because you're building all of these gateways and the units first. He sees one more warp and realizes MaxPax isn't going to give it up. He will come commit back in with his units instead of dropping across the map. Emil was pretty low on health or slash energy anyways, so it wasn't going to last too long. And we are going to clean up this other Adept as well. Hey, Bullseye88, thank you so much for the Prime sub. Just as the chaos calms for a second here. Between Clem and MaxPax scrapping it out for the first place of the group. And Medevac will just zoom up to the top a little bit, a few Stalkers. Gonna get into position there. Medevac take a quick diversion as it realizes it might be in a little spot of bother. We do have our Siege Tank Engineering Bay. Other racks, the reactor coming up as well. All of this getting going, as we do have Our medevac is going to come into the natural expansion, drops a Widow Mine, drops the Hellion, so as the probes pull, they stack, and then the Hellion gets some good splash. But you have to pull the probes to avoid the Widow Mine. Widow Mine going to do some unburrowing micro here, as we do get 3 workers, and we've still got the Widow Mine zoning. 2 probes will die. That's 5 kills, so Clem getting some very good counter damage done to start out with. Boy, he is not stopping. 9 workers! Clem gets a very good start to this, as we lose 1 Marine that apparently didn't have a return ticket into the medevac. He'd accessed too many times, run out of money on his card. Well, the Stalkers will start across the map. Blink is done, so MaxPax is likely going to try and force something here. He's got the Prism, he's got 3 gates. I just think he sends it, especially after losing 9 workers. It's a lot of damage. He's got to do something before he tries to set up into the rest of the game, otherwise Clem is just going to continue to dominate him. You know, if you just do nothing at all here, Clem's advantage is going to be pretty serious. Once he hits Stim in +1, you're probably going to have an attack you can't really deal with on your front doorstep. So better just to get ahead of that right now, and to basically just say, cool, you know, I'm going to have trouble against you if I don't do anything. So let's just try and do something now, and maybe I can disrupt that attack a minute or so down the line that is otherwise going to be pretty deadly. So that's MaxPax's approach. The medevac, the Prism into the main base is going to eat a Widow Mine shot, so it's going to be low. Now you can't stick around. The Marines would have killed it. I actually got scared for a moment. They were still going to kill it. I'm trying to find a way back in with his medevac. He is keeping units pinned back at home to deal with that, so supply caught up in supply. That's, I think, okay for Clem, who is pretty happy to have as few Stalkers as possible attacking his base. His tanks will deal well with less Stalkers over here that try and jump on them and kill them. Since you do have the Stalkers, a couple of them going down pretty much immediately, so pretty expensive first blink in. That tank is positioned well enough to cover against those initial Stalkers. Stim is obviously done, so the bio units are pretty hefty when it comes to fighting back. +1 combat shields and the concussive shells all coming through. Couple of medevacs just going to go boost their way up the right-hand side. There is going to be Stalkers that will now know about this because of the gateway, but we're going to get enough unloaded here to actually fight back against them. Maybe not ideal as we do Prism Micro to make the absolute most of this as MaxPax. The Marauders are going to be all that's left standing, and now Clem's actually going to bring his units from the other side, realizing he can make more of a fight of this. The Warpin is going to be stuck in the corner, blinks to the other side where actually the evacuation via Prism is available. But this was a lot of units lost from MaxPax, and Clem seemingly knows it as he begins to make his way toward the upper left. Medevac in the corner still stuck, but still 3 Stalkers left there too. And Clem's actually going to slow down for a second to shut down this gateway, get rid of some of the production that MaxPax would have available. Obviously just makes a pretty good amount of sense to be doing that. It comes about. Stalker's going to get chased around a little bit as we do have ourselves the medevac unloading a couple of these Widow Mines. We continue to go through the center of the map, heading over to that left-hand side. Stalkers, Colossus, all setting up here. Our charge on the way up as well. And we got a couple of tanks starting to siege. Sentry going to go down. Zella going to be taking some shots for a couple of moments, and well, can this one Colossus save the day? There's a bunch of Widow Mines that are going to zone the gateway units from getting close to the Terran. I'm not sure the Colossi are going to be enough, because I don't think they've got the supporting cast they need to truly see success here. Fire gets down to low ground again, and is just going to be straight up active in the face. And it's just going to chase. Prism goes down with the Colossus inside. The 2 tanks over here can probably shoot down the other. If not, the Bio's going to turn back around and get it, and Clem is going to take a game 1 victory over MaxPax. He's going to open, so consider leaving the stream on as the TLDR once we wrap up this match of StarCraft, whether it's this game or whether it's a 3-game series. Really appreciate if you do. In the top left-hand corner, the Blue Protoss player, MaxPax. And he takes on, in the bottom right, the Red Terran from Team Liquid. It is Clem. Alright then, game 2 of this best of 3. And I'll start out with that proxy gate from MaxPax last time around. Got pretty aggro pretty early on. And at that point, you know, from that point onwards, never really gave it up from there, right? As that probe continues down towards the bottom right side, MaxPax going to have a bit of a peek across the map to see what will be happening. MaxPax on a little bit of a journey. Probe is already moving across the other side and just trying to get in or down over here to see what it can get up to. Barracks finishes up, Reaper will start. A couple of SCVs are going to nibble up on the probe as well, start to pick our way through that. And just, again, MaxPax trying to be an annoyance in the early stages. If he does have aggressive intentions, it's one of those moments where obviously you're kind of just trying to slow your opponent down in any way so that you might be able to nab a delay on the CC later because you slowed it down by a second or two. The kind of thing which maybe doesn't always pay off, but sometimes it pays off big time. And at the top end of StarCraft 2, you've got to make every game as high a win rate probability as possible. Little things like that sometimes do just push it in your favor, as our Reaper will be moving across this side. Obviously, last game the Zealot came across early, trying to delay, and this time the Reaper's going to go across to scout. No proxying from MaxPax here. Looks as though he's going to enter into a pretty standardized agreement for this map. Wonder if Clem, a game up, decides to go Cyclones. I kind of want to see the Cyclones a bit more, you know? I kind of want to believe we might try them out against MaxPax as well. There's the bunker, there's that Zealot I talked about in terms of maybe trying to delay things. Not got that SCV. Marine will pull back too. The SCV on the natural has to pull away, so there's the slight delay on the CC that we are going to get to see. And an Adept showing up as well. It's just going to create some early game complications, and Clem is going to make a defensive Cyclone here. Repeat, defensive Cyclone is on the way up. So last time he went into a Hellion, now he goes Cyclone. Much more versatile in terms of being able to build it. Like, you don't have to commit to a tech lab to get the Cyclone out. They build quickly, it's cheap. And it should really destroy these early game gateway units, right? Don't think a Zealot and a couple of Adepts are going to be like, you know, really stopping this Cyclone from having the time of its life. Right now they're still delaying on this low ground CC. As the Cyclone pops, Clem can get back to building this. And yeah, he's feeling confident. MaxPax is clearly aware that something's up because he's backing it away. He can run away, and again, one of the big things here is that the Cyclone's pretty slow, so it can't chase super well, but if you stop to attack, it will be able to catch, and we killed one Adept. And the Zealot obviously went down as well, but that's the defense we needed. And the Cyclone comes in clutch for Clem, and the Cyclone in this regard is still pretty good at defending. It's more so going to be those units that kind of get out of range more easily and stuff like Oracles and so on that it's maybe not going to be as hot at defending. That's what I kind of have my kind of question marks about still, if the Oracle setup comes in and stuff. Even to some extent the Phoenix, as the Phoenix actually shut down a Reaper right now. Even to some extent the Phoenix, because you're not going to be able to lock on and chase the Phoenix away and clip away at them a bit more as much. Now we saw earlier if there was a bunch of Cyclones and the Phoenix fly over them, the Phoenix will absolutely melt, but that is kind of a whole different story in and of itself. Let's just see our Phoenix continuing back up to the top, and Clem is pushing, bringing the Cyclones in the medevac. They are slow moving right now without their upgrades, so they are going to be transported in the medevac to take away some of that immobility. Continuing through the Marines and the two Cyclones. Going to come in at the front. Two Adepts, two Stalkers. Well, there's an immediate battery that's going to get cancelled, so that's not going to last very long at all. And now we're going to kill off a Phoenix, but it costs us a Cyclone. Yeah, that's fine. Not going to be able to push any further, but we forced like a battery, right? You know, an extra battery. We forced an Immortal to guarantee be made here where you might not have done that before. This medevac will go down. It costs you a Phoenix, however, and that's now two Phoenix dead. For Cyclone and a medevac, I guess you don't hate it because the Phoenix count not getting as high is a pretty big deal. Not sure how, I mean, obviously a medevac's nice throughout the game, but these Cyclones without speed are definitely not going to be, like, amazing the further the game goes on. Typically, these Cyclones are probably, from here on out, going to just get a little bit worse as this game goes on because they are so slow. How are they ever really meant to be where they need to be to truly help out? He comes back down the bottom right. The Phoenix move into the main base. SCVs get a little bit of harassment here. Missile turret's not ready, and again the Cyclones are making the slowest attempt to move. Honestly, it's just they are slow. I don't even know if they're slow versus when they're fast. They're so fast, and obviously they're just a little bit slower than they used to be. Maybe I'm overemphasizing how slow they really are. They feel like they're trundling along. They kind of feel like more mech units, right? They kind of really feel like they're a little bit more like, okay, this is a big, heavy thing, moving around. It doesn't have speed. It just gets where it can, when it can, you know? That's Clem. Gonna begin to move out here. Bioforce, couple Cyclones moving in toward the center. The Phoenix will go around the right-hand side. So they're gonna dart about over there a little. The army of Clem still moving up through the center. The couple Cyclones, all of this bio. Phoenix will grab an SCV, readying to build a third on location. We do have the first Colossus up, and that should be a good point of defense from MaxPax to rally behind. He is supply block currently, mind you. Max is about to finish to unsupply block him. As the little marine drop is going to be warded out. Clem trying to just find his positioning, his posture. Try and get something done here. He sees this pylon up top. And try and fight that with a few Marines. He does have stem, which makes these Marines pretty dangerous for the Phoenix to try and contest. If they don't quite have the numbers, that would go very wrong for them. Clem's just setting up a Widow Mine here and a Widow Mine there. The little things that can perhaps add up. And just get onto the natural. He might be able to kill the robo facilities. He just goes diving through. Battery's going to activate on it, but that's not going to be enough. And now Clem will just run into the main. Widow Mines are going to zone a little bit as well. We do see that Immortal Barrier getting popped. That's being changed a little bit, but not super impactful right now. I believe the Marines on the low ground are probably not going to have too great of a time. But yeah, the drop in the main, or the run by into the main, is pretty good. And you're going to be able to lift up to get out of there with a bunch of units as well. So really not a wasted opportunity. We're actually going to drop onto the low ground, try and make something happen on this Colossus. I mean, the super batteries here, that might be a little bit too hopeful, but well, Clem going to give it a go. He's going to lift up and back away again. He did get rid of a bunch of Stalkers, or the Stalkers just aren't in position, so he doesn't really have a way to do much about chasing that down. He didn't actually kill Stalkers. This wasn't a lot of Stalkers, because obviously it was Phoenix, and we did have a lot of the Phoenix killed off already, so the Phoenix count definitely taking some hits. As our Colossi continue to join up together, the Medivac's going to try and drop back into the main base. Clem already making a play over here. Getting set straight into position. Fire unloading. Medivac's up on the top side, as we do have the Quasi, Immortal, the Sentry. Still gathering up just out at the front. A couple of Vikings on the way, plus one armor is coming through. Gonna kill that probe off, as you have a few zealots wandering around the left-hand side, still trying to see just if there's any openings or opportunities for them at the moment. We've got the Marine gonna go grab a probe as well, so a couple of probes getting dropped. Ghosts and Vikings are all on the way up. This army is gonna regather out the front of the third base. A few zealots on the bottom side. They are gonna make their way towards this natural, as that Bioforce will stand and fight. A few Vikings are even gonna land here. It's gonna push those zealots out for a few moments. Prism continues to move about. So just pushing in. Well, MaxPax hanging back, obviously losing his Robo, slowing down his Colossus production is a little unfortunate, as now the Viking count is going to be very good against these Colossi. We even have our first EMP coming down to soften up the Archons. MaxPax's army is not really standing the test of Clem, as Clem comes pushing through, and it looks as though Clem is going to claim victory. He'll be first place in this group. Beyond will be second, and MaxPax will be third, as this game is as good as done. That will do it. GG's. And Clem is your winner of Group B.